Okay, just imagine this situation. You're in December 2024 and Webtoon just put out a notice for announcing a contest, uh, a webcomic contest. It's been a while since Webtoon has posted that, and you get very excited because you've been working on a comic idea for years now, and you decided this was the year it was going to happen. You start working on the comic, and 3 months later you realize that the story became too big for you to actually get started, and because you were very passionately working on it for 8 years, you really couldn't um, stop and let it be just whatever. And then you go back to the drawing board again, try to pick up something small from the list of 30ish odd stories that you have on in your notebook. And then you figure out that, I can pick this. I'm going to work on this. And come March, I'm going to publish the first chapter. And in April, I'll publish a second chapter. And by the end of the contest deadline, which is May 9th, I will publish the third chapter. And each chapter would have 40 panels each, and everything's going on track. You wrote an outline, you edited the outline, you've rewritten the story 3 times, and by this time it was already April. You're running late, and all of a sudden it's like 19th of April, and then you realize that I have way too many things I have to work on right now. Although you realize that you had the thumbnails done for up to chapter 5. You just realize you only have the thumbnails. And thumbnails just contain stick figures. They don't have any characters. You don't have any locations. You don't even know how the world looks like, except for the fact that there's a forest in it. So what do? You decide to give up, say this is not the year again. We need to work on this comic, because while I'm not as passionate about this one as my other comic, I'm still passionate about this, and I can't let it be whatever. You go back to your sister, you tell her that it's not working out, and I'm not going to, I can't make the deadline. I'm not going to draw it. And then your sister says, just do it. And all of a sudden, all the pain for the last few years comes crushing down. All the Christmas weekends I've spent thinking about why I'm not able to finish my webcomic. And I thought about the Christmas weekend for 2025 and realized that this weekend would no different be. This year's Christmas weekend will also not be any different compared to the previous years. It's going to be full of anxiety, full of stress, and full of me blaming myself that I haven't done what I wanted to do this year. And what do I do then? I make some concessions, and I decide that we need to get started, and we need to be at the starting line at least. For this, I had to understand, realize, and accept a few things, and I'm going to share what I learned through this process of this 1 week, through the process of 6 months since November 2024 to April 2025, when I published my first 4-panel prologue. It was not 40 panel, 4 panel, just a bite-sized thing to get started and get the gears moving. Okay, so these were the 4 things I told myself. The first one, this webcomic is going to be bad and it's going to suck. The reason being that this is my first time writing actively and storytelling via a visual medium. I have written in the past. I've written some fan fictions, but don't look them up. Although I'm actually proud of them, so I don't mind if you look them up, but it might be hard to find though. Anyway, I digress. So I have written fan fiction, but I don't think I've had like that great skills as a writer. I think the reason why I stopped writing was because I felt the characters were becoming too out of character and becoming something more of my own, which is a good thing for a writer. But I think for a fan fiction, I feel like it's not the ideal thing, or maybe I'm just holding myself to a much more rigorous standards. But I have not have always had this in my mind that I would like to draw a comic. uh, I think um, I don't remember how long it's been, but I've always wanted to draw a comic. There was a turning point in my life actually, but maybe that this is not going to be the video for that one. Okay. So but I can't talk about it. Okay, I'm gonna talk about it. So I think I had a repeated stress injury in my wrist during one point in my life, and I couldn't write. Um, I couldn't type. I couldn't write, and I could barely draw because I guess that was using a different motion of my muscles. So I could draw somehow, but I couldn't write. So just to be able to creatively create characters, um, I started venturing more into drawing and less into writing. And now I've come to a point where I cannot write anymore. Like I can't write prose, but I can draw, and I've become more of a visual storyteller. Anyway, that was the side story about why I moved to drawing comics, or why I wanted to draw comics. Um, but this is my first time doing it. I have attempted it in the past, and every time I ended up with some reason or the other because of which I could not continue those comics. It's either that there were too many plot holes, I haven't figured out too much stuff, or the fact that everything's gonna break down. I just don't have a buffer, to be honest. Yeah, I didn't have a buffer of comics, so I couldn't keep up with the consistent posting schedule. So I've done that before. I learned from that, but I've never really like applied it until recently. Uh, and because I only ever started comics many times but never really finished anything, so I never really learned much about finishing comics, or like the skill set that you learn while managing the comic project. So I think that those are the things which are important, and I don't have that. I think my skills, art wise, storytelling wise, are stuck in I think stuck 10 years ago, I guess, because I keep starting and restarting over and again. This is interesting because recently I was watching a video by Artwad. uh, check them out because they're really good. And they were talking about this thing called a Dunning-Kruger effect, wherein when you start learning a new skill, your skills skyrocket, which gives you a huge confidence boost. But then slowly that motivation dies down, and you are in something called a valley of death. But if you pass that valley of death, most people give up in the valley of death, but if you pass that, which is the lowest point where you feel like you can't learn the skill anymore, if you pass that, you enter the slope of enlightenment and eventually go on to become a guru or a master. So this is going to take a long time. It's not going to happen in a short time, but this also happens in short bursts also. I don't know how to exactly explain this, but I'll link the video down. You can have a look at it and learn from it. But I thought this was very interesting because that's what I keep doing. I start learning a skill. So even within art, I start learning how to draw anatomy, and then I realized I need to learn how to draw hands. Then I realized I need to learn how to draw faces. And this was actually the exact thought I was having before I was working on my comic, because I was telling myself I need to learn perspective, I need to learn backgrounds, characters, anatomy, costume design, character design. I was just so overwhelmed with that I decided that I'm not going to do it. I'm going to need more time, and I was going to take 6 more months to actually get the comic out. So I think the reason why my art skills are stuck is because I always quit and start over again when I'm at the valley of death, and that's definitely been a blocker to move forward and learn something from the experience. So I decided to apply that to my art going forward. I think I kind of got distracted and started talking about something else. But tying that back to this point where my art is, my webcomic is going to be bad, because this is kind of like, even though I did some rewrites, this is still a first draft. So as I make the comic and as my comic telling skills, storytelling skills improve, I'm going to get better. And I'm going to draw better, and I'm going to arrange the panels in a better way, hopefully a more beautiful way. So which means that eventually the comic is going to get better. Eventually the future comics I write are going to get better. But right now, with my current skills, it's not going to be at a point where I would be happy with it. So that was the first realization I had. So I had to make a decision, make a call basically. Am I going to improve on my art first and then do the comic? To be honest, I tried that for years. I told myself that let me improve my art first and then I'll draw the comics. But it never worked. I never really improved my art, and I never really got to draw the comics. Earlier this year, I think, with the video which actually kickstarted my desire to make the webcomic and make it public is the video by Saito Nawaki. He's a YouTuber. I follow him and he gives great advice. And he said that for someone who wants to make a manga or a comic, you don't really need to learn how to draw. You get started with learning how to make the manga or the comic, and then eventually your art skills will improve. And so it's just that the order, I got it wrong. It wasn't that I become a better artist and then learn storytelling, but first I learned storytelling and improve my art along the way. So which was a confidence boost, honestly, because I was starting to lose confidence and going to give up on my whole art journey earlier this year, which was crisis time. So I decided, okay, the art was not going to be good. This storytelling is gonna suck. So what do? I won't be happy with it even if I publish it. So I just made a call. After 6 months, I'm gonna redraw the first few chapters. I mean, to be honest, I'm gonna evaluate it. If I feel like it, I'm going to redraw the first few chapters. I probably will, because they're pretty bad right now. But eventually, in 6 months, no matter how bad my art still is, it's going to be better than what it is right now. So definitely, I think I would like to. I would like to. How do I say this? Redraw the first few chapters after 6 months, so that it also makes the reader's experience a bit easier, and it also allows me to work on or match the things to the current style. I know, because I've read manga too, and I definitely see that even like the professional authors, they have their art style improving or becoming more streamlined. It always gets more beautiful, to be honest, by their last volume compared to the first volume. Although both the art styles are good. So to be honest, I think that will happen to me too. At least I hope so. There are some scenes in my webcomic. I really hope that my art looks beautiful enough by that point. But because I have not decided a lot of things by the time I was going to publish the webcomic, so I just decided to, like whip up some character designs that work and then just move forward with the storytelling. And eventually I was going to figure out whether this whole thing, whether I want to change the character designs or whether I want to change how the characters are going to play out. And thankfully it also helps that I am a small creator right now, so I don't have a huge following, but I'm actually very grateful to all the people who do follow me. Everyone's been leaving such supportive comments on my YouTube these days, so I really am grateful to them. And I just ask for their patience and understanding while I experiment with my art styles and comic styles. And eventually, to a point, one day it becomes bearable and it gets better. um, uh, Also, please don't think that I hate my art. I actually love it. I love that it's not good. These days I've been like so in love with it. You can actually watch my Shigatsu wa Kimi no Uso or Your Lie in April fan art that I made recently. And I was like so in love with the imperfections of that drawing. So I've been loving it. So although I use words which have negative connotations, it's probably it's actually different for me. I'm talking about it from a place of love, actually. So anyway, so back to point number 2, because this is the first draft and I don't have a lot of things decided. I'm just gonna come back again and redraw the things once I've become comfortable. Now, this brings us to the third thing, which is that because I'm going to redraw the comic, I'm going to, because I'm going to redraw it in 6 months, I don't need to make it in color. I know it's upsetting. I am also upset, but I barely have the character designs in, so I really can't put the colors down because I would hate it. I would hate that I pick colors which are not going to work and which are going to clash, and every time I'm going to draw the characters with those colors, I'm going to hate drawing the webcomic. So instead of that, I decided that I'm just going to go with a black and white approach with a few shades of gray in between. And I'm going to focus on learning value and contrast, shapes and composition, and forget about colors for now so that I can focus on building the fundamental skills. And also, another thing which color does is it adds another layer of complexity to the whole webcomic production process, where you need to decide on different colors, and you need to decide on which color would be the best to represent a particular scene or mood or characters. I think it's just me who's overthinking these things, but I just have a lot of information that I've gained over the years, which I don't know how to use it yet. So for now, it has to just stay as information, and I just need to focus on the fundamental skills and improve the comic from this point. So for now, until 6 months, the comic is going to be in black and white. So there's a third one, right? And now the fourth one, which is that if the comic, so initially my goal for this comic project was that I was going to draw all the assets myself. I wanted a very stylized environment, although I have no clue how the environment looks like. But I wanted to create very unique assets for this comic. But unfortunately, I don't have the designs ready yet. So for now, I'm just going to use simple designs just to suggest the backgrounds, and I'm also going to just use some assets available in Clip Studio Paint. For example, in my prologue, you can see that I've used this image of a branch because I don't know how to draw tree branches. So I just used an image of a branch from Clip Studio Paint assets, and I just do that. So what this does is it definitely speeds up the workflows and also helps to maintain a consistent schedule. I think I'm going to move away from it eventually, but for now, I think I'm just going to get all the help that I can. And I know it's not a wise decision, especially if you're a comic artist, but I want to draw all the assets by myself. I think it would be great if I can do that one day. So eventually, by making all these 4 decisions, I simplified my whole comic making process. So once I did that, I was able to push through the week and publish a prologue of my webcomic on April 29th. It's actually currently available. Unfortunately, I'm not updating it right now. I've been having very busy weeks since last 2 weeks. So it just has the prologue and chapter 1, part 1. But if you want to support it and if you like it, it is definitely not a happy story. So I'm going to put that warning down here right now. So please do follow if you like tragedies. And if you're stuck with your comic also, and if you're overthinking it and finding it hard to get to the starting line, I hope this video helped you a little bit. Also, I did not really talk about the video in the background. It's actually the process for drawing my prologue. And with that, I'm going to sign off for today, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm going to make more videos on the webcomic journey because I want to actually capture it. I think I've put a lot of effort in making the webcomic, even if it's just the prologue and the chapter 1. I just keep rewriting stuff. So for example, chapter 1, I think I've redrawn the thumbnails 5 times before I actually finalized the final version. And the same thing happens for the current chapter, which is the chapter 1 part 2. I've redrawn it 4 times, I think, and then finally ended up with a version which is much different than the first time I planned it out. While I can't show you all the material right now, and depending on how it goes, I might be going in from having a background video to not having a background video and just having slides and pictures. So that's going to differ, but I still hope that this will prove to be a useful series of videos, especially for someone who's starting from scratch with no idea on how to actually get the comic ready and have the material ready. At least that's where I was. I was very overwhelmed with all the material and tips that were available on the internet. Overthought my comic for a lot of years. I just hope that this journey can save you a bit of time. That's all I hope. With that, I'm gonna sign off today. I'll see you in the next week's video, hopefully. And I hope you have a very nice weekend. And bye bye.